Hello, this is Pam Bridge from CLS. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping things before Nina Targovnik, our presenter, takes over. You guys, everybody who's joining will be on mute. However, we encourage questions. So please write any questions in your Q&A. Unfortunately, we can't give legal advice during our webinars. However, you can always apply for assistance at CLS by calling us at 602-258-3434, Monday through Fridays, 8 to 3. However, we will be able to give any types of legal information in Q&A. So if you could write those in the Q&A, and then we will get to the questions at the end. As you know, these are part of a series that CLS is presenting. Tomorrow at noon, we will be doing mortgages and bankruptcy. Beginning next week, all of the webinars will be on Wednesdays and Fridays. On Wednesday, we'll be doing consumer issues, what to do if you're being sued during this pandemic. On Friday next week, we'll be discussing we'll be doing landlord-tenant issues and discussing the court's guidance that was issued yesterday interpreting the governor's order. You can sign up for those webinars as you signed up for this one by going to www.clsaz.org/events. Okay, I am now going to turn it over to our presenter, Nina Targovnik. She is a lead attorney in our employment unit at Community Legal Services. Thanks, Nina, and take it away.
Thank you, Pam. Welcome. Thank you for sharing your lunch with me today. It's a little different for me to be doing a presentation where I can't see the audience, and I'm generally known for giving out candy during my presentations, which I obviously can't do right now. But if you ever meet me in person and come to my office when we open up again, please be sure to stop by and get some candy, but only if you tell me how great the presentation was. So our presentation today is about unemployment insurance and the changes that have happened in the past 6 weeks. So typically, when you qualify for unemployment, you would have needed to earn a certain amount of money in the past 4 quarters, not counting the quarter that you're in, and then left your job for a qualifying reason, that there was a good reason that you left employment. After April 1st, all of this has changed. So we have the CARES Act, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, and it addresses these newly unemployed individuals. So how are you eligible for unemployment now? So before the CARES Act, independent contractors, gig workers, self-employed individuals were not eligible for unemployment because they didn't pay into the system. Now they're considered eligible. People who didn't earn enough money, they didn't earn 390 times minimum wage in their quarters, or the money wasn't spread out correctly in the quarters, were generally not eligible for unemployment. Or if you had already used your 26 weeks of unemployment, you would not be considered eligible for another 6 months. Or you're unable to work because you're sick, or you're caring for someone who's sick, or you're taking care of a child. All of these people are considered eligible now. So if you fall into any of those categories, you should definitely apply for unemployment insurance benefits. And you should realize that so many people who have lost their jobs or have had reduced hours are applying for unemployment, that the system may be a little backed up. So in Arizona, we have the second lowest unemployment insurance weekly benefit amount in the country. Only Mississippi is lower than ours. We can receive $240 a week for unemployment insurance. With the CARES Act, another $600 is added each week through July 31st. And an additional 13 weeks are added to the 26-week claim. The 13 weeks go through December of 2020. And the additional 13 weeks are being funded from the federal government, not with state contributions. Before the CARES Act, there was what was called a waiting week. So once you applied for unemployment, you had a week to wait before you received your benefits. Through the CARES Act and Governor Ducey, the waiting week has been waived. So you should get your unemployment as soon as you are eligible. You can apply at azui.gov, and unemployment thinks that everyone has access to a computer. And now with the libraries being closed, it's maybe difficult for some people to file online, but they do have a call-in number that you can call. They do not have a way to accept paper applications that I saw on their website, but there is a number that you can try and call or try and do it through a computer or through a phone at azui.gov. It's pretty self-explanatory how to apply, and they have videos that show you what you need to have and what you need to do to apply. But you should definitely have your name, your address, your phone number of all the employers that you've worked for the last 18 months, the last day that you worked before filing the claim, and any type of severance or vacation or holiday or sick pay that you were cashed out, because that will be a portion to your claim. And then if you are a legal permanent resident, then your LPR number. So as I said before, benefits in Arizona are $240 a week. If you're working part-time and you want to apply for unemployment, you can't earn more than $240 a week. So if you earn $241 in a week, you will not be eligible to receive the additional $600. This is how Arizona has interpreted the CARES Act. So if you are not eligible for any portion of a weekly benefit amount, then you will not be able to get the extra $600. And if you are earning any money, you need to report it on your weekly claim. So if you earn $60, you need to report that $60. Then your unemployment amount, $240, will be reduced by $60. But if you don't report that money, that's considered fraud. And fraud is the worst overpayment that you can have unemployment until your fraud overpayment is paid off. For each week that unemployment thinks that you committed fraud, there's a 4-week disqualification, and there's a 15% penalty charged to your account, as well as any interest while you're paying back the debt. So if you're working part-time, definitely report that to unemployment. Before the CARES Act, everyone had to look for work in order to be eligible for unemployment. Now, for the foreseeable future, that requirement has been waived. There's no date that the work search will be reinstated, but it's always good to look for work. But you do not have to turn in a work search history like you previously had to, but you still need to file your weekly claims. If you are furloughed, you can apply for benefits as long as, one, you're not getting paid, and two, your employer did not offer you a telework option. If you were offered telework and you were not able to accept it, then you are probably not eligible for benefits. If you do not feel that your workplace is safe, then you can leave your job and apply for unemployment insurance benefits. On the application, there should be a box that says your resignation was because of COVID. So what do you need to do in order to get unemployment right now? You need to definitely file your weekly claims, and as long as the system allows you to file, definitely file. Even if you're not getting the money right now, you need to file the weekly claims, because once you miss more than 1 week, the system doesn't recognize you. So putting the numbers in perspective a little bit, as of March 28th, 2020, 6.9 million people nationwide put in a new claim for unemployment insurance benefits. About 400,000 people in Arizona applied for benefits. About 250,000 people are receiving benefits. And in 2009, during the Great Recession, about 127,000 people applied for benefits in Arizona. And in February of 2020, about 3,000 people applied for benefits weekly in Arizona. So the system is definitely being overloaded right now. You may ask why it's taking so long. The unemployment insurance computer system is 32 years old and not programmed to capture people who are not eligible for benefits. So people who are monetarily ineligible and the independent contractor gig workers are receiving letters saying that they have been denied, but that there will be a review to see if they're eligible under the CARES Act. The computer system that unemployment has found to capture this data will be live on May 12th. So nothing is being done right now looking at people who have been denied because they're monetarily ineligible, and nothing will be done at least until May 12th. And then they'll have a backlog of probably over 100,000 claims to examine and then give out the money. So be patient. If unemployment sends you any questionnaires, send it back as soon as possible. You can fax them in, you can mail them in, but make sure that your claim isn't delayed because you haven't sent in the paperwork. Anything that they send you, that they expect back. If you think that you should be getting more money and you're not, it could be because you have an overpayment from a previous claim. And unemployment will take out money from your current check to pay back an overpayment. If you have a fraud overpayment, you have to pay it all back before you can receive benefits. And if you think that unemployment is taking money out and you don't think you have an overpayment, then you can do an intake and we can try and figure out what's happening. Some people have been the victim of identity theft and they don't know that someone collected unemployment using their social security number until now, when they get a notice that they have an overpayment. So if you think that's happening to you, please do an intake so we can try and work out that situation. So in Arizona, I said the most you can make a week is $240. The least you can make is $117. So for people who are monetarily ineligible for unemployment, you should receive $717 as a minimum. And remember, that's not happening until after May 12th. And that's all I have for right now. Everything with the CARES Act is being interpreted daily. There's new policies that are coming out all the time. I am in contact with different people from DES on a daily basis, trying to get answers to the specific questions. So please, if you have questions, call and do an intake so that we can help you. Thank you.
Okay, Nina, this is, thank you. We have several questions. And again, Nina can provide legal information at this point or questions about the law. If you are looking for advice about your situation, we encourage you to call CLS. Okay, first question. Nina, you stated that if your employer offers you telework and you turn it down, you cannot receive unemployment. What if the reason you are turning down telework is because you have school-aged children at home who you have to watch because the schools are closed?
Then I would say apply, and if you are denied unemployment, then do an intake and we can try and help you work through that. I was told about telework just in very broad terms, and we didn't get into the specifics, and not telework, about furlough in very broad terms. So there could be specific exceptions and you could fall under another part of the CARES Act.
Okay. Can an employee receive unemployment if he or she has not been terminated?
Well, it depends. If there was a previous claim open and you're working and earning less than $240 a week, yes. Generally, if you are employed, then you can't apply for unemployment. They're two separate things. I guess it would just depend on the circumstances of the employment.
I have a disabled client who made too little income working, supported to get UI during the furlough. That person now has no income. DES sent a notice that they were reconsidering the qualifications for UI during COVID-19. We have not received any updates after that. Do you know if there's been changes?
Again, that goes back to the May 12th, and there haven't been any updates because there's no computer system that captures that information right now. So there won't be any updates until after May 12th.
Just about quarters, one question is an individual, it seems like it's individual to this person, but you did state that they've added the amount of quarters, that weeks that you're allowed to receive unemployment. Is that correct? So if somebody ran out in 2019, is there a chance that they still might be able to receive some in 2020 if they run, because they've increased the amount of quarters? Increase the amount of weeks that you can receive it?
They've increased the amount of weeks, so I'm not sure how that interacts with the quarters. I think for an existing claim, the quarters right now are not important. The quarters are important for establishing a claim. I think that also happened with the Great Recession when unemployment was also extended.
How does unemployment insurance under the CARES Act impact obligations for child support payments?
DES might withdraw child support payments from the extra $600. Their computers are very old, and trying to capture all of this information and paying people out correctly is not something their computers were designed for. So I'm not exactly sure what will happen. I know that that is one possibility.
So if a person went from 40 to 30 hours, like so that their employer reduced their hours, but they make more than the 240 weekly, would that person get anything for the decreased hours?
No.
Okay. That's an easy question. How long, we like those easier questions, right? How long will the minimum of $700 last? When is unemployment expected to revert back to normal amount?
I wish I had an answer for that. I know that the extra weeks go through the end of the year. The extra $600 goes through the end of July.
Can college students that work, that used to work while they're in college but cannot work now, can they apply for unemployment?
Sure. everyone can apply, whether you're eligible or not. And I think a college student who can't find a job right now would qualify under the CARES Act.
This person asked if their income was reduced to COVID, can they receive partial UI? And I think that you explained, Nina, that depends on their income. Is that correct?
That's right. If you're making more than $240 a week, then you're not eligible for unemployment in Arizona.
The company I work for deals with the homeless population. Many of them newly housed and are employed. Many did not work the previous 4 quarters. Will they be eligible, and should they file?
They should file. They should be eligible under the CARES Act as monetarily ineligible. But they should file, and remember, nothing will be formalized from DES until after May 12th.
If someone has an overpayment from Social Security that is large, will portions be taken out of the UI weekly, or will that person not receive any payment until the overpayment is paid off?
That I don't know how Social Security and DES interact, if they do at all, and I don't want to give the wrong answer for that. So you might want to consult a Social Security attorney.
Okay. Can we get copies of this presentation? Yes, this PowerPoint will be on our website. And then eventually we will have the whole presentation on our CLS YouTube. Several of the questions are looking for specific legal advice. So I think that those individuals should contact CLS. Another thing we can do is you can just, if you can email us at the Zoominar email if you have specific general questions you would like to go over, and we can answer that there. Okay, I think that is every other question I see here. I think that you've covered, or I believe. Okay, here's one that we could probably answer without giving legal advice. If a person that moved and that person left work, and now she or he is having a hard time finding a job, but they can't apply because they were not laid off. So I guess they're saying that they weren't laid off, but the individual had to move. So are you saying that depends on how they left the termination, whether they quit or they were fired? Is that what you're saying, Nina?
Yes, but I would just apply for unemployment. Wait and see if they're denied. If they're denied, they can do an intake, and we can evaluate the denial and see if we can help them, represent them at the hearing.
You talked about, I think I can ask you this one question without doing legal advice. One person feels like their employer, that exposure is a great risk as a health hazard. Their employer is asking them to go back to work next week. If they refuse to go back to work because they feel like it's related to COVID issues, will their unemployment stop? Like, that person's now receiving unemployment, they're being told they can go back to work, but they work in a place they think that it's a health hazard.
They should be okay. If, depending on how long they've gotten unemployment, it might be too late for the employer to appeal. If there is an appeal, they can do an intake, and we can again evaluate the situation and see if we can represent them at their hearing.
In that situation, should they document to unemployment why they're not going back to work, do you think? If the employer says, let's go to work, should they tell unemployment why they're not, because of the reasons they think it's a health hazard?
Yeah, if there's a place to put that information with their weekly claim, I would say yes. I'm not sure that the weekly claim offers you to be that specific. But if there is a place, then yeah.
Can my 17-year-old daughter receive unemployment? What's the minimum age to receive unemployment?
18.
Okay, so that answer is no, sorry. I have a 17-year-old too. I wish that they could get it. Okay. All right.
17-year-old is your responsibility.
Shoot. All right. I think that is all of the questions that we can answer that are asking for legal advice. Again, we encourage you, if you have detailed questions about your specific situation, to call CLS. And Nina, I can tell you that you had more questions than any other presentation that we've been given. And so I know there's a lot of questions about unemployment because this is such a huge thing in our community. So two things you can do. Again, you can either apply for services if you want advice on your situation, or you can ask us general questions by going to the Zoominar email address. Okay, and this PowerPoint will be on our website. So thank you, Nina. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
All right. Oh, Nina, I have one more question to ask you. So if someone, when they turn 18, they can apply, right? That person gave us a follow-up. As soon as they turn 18, they can apply, right?
If the coronavirus is still a reason that they're not employed.
Okay, then it would be all of the other, if the coronavirus is over, then it would just go back to what is normal requirements for unemployment. So
right, they'd have to be monetarily eligible, and then they would have to have had a job to leave from.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nina. All right. Bye.
Bye.